Thank you for that great introduction. It feels nice sometimes to hear good things about you because the world that we live in, that is social media and digital media, if you go online, it's mostly people trying to tear you apart on any comment you make. And that's the great diversity of the digital media today. That's the best way to find out actually what's happening around you. You write something and, somebody, so I tweeted it this morning, what Mr. M.J. Akbar said, and all sorts of views come back. And I think that is a power. More likely than not, the views are very, very strong. But it's our job to see what is the genuine views versus non-genuine views and what is just somebody's anger or rant at his or her boss or in the house with the wife or the husband and that they're throwing out on social media. So in a way, I joke always, social media is very, very a good medium because you can go there and rant and not take it out on a car or the neighbor or somewhere else. It's good that you take out your anger on writing 140 characters in a tweet. It solves the matter there and then only. So that's good. Okay, so I want to talk about 3-4 things and keep it very interactive. But, and the 3 things I do want to talk about are shown there. Basically, the smartphone revolution. I know this room is the last place that I should talk about smartphones. I think everybody in this room has a smartphone. Anybody in this room who does not use a smartphone? See, 0 hands. And this number, as all of you know, in India has already become mind-boggling. India, as of yesterday, is the second biggest smartphone user in the world after China. We have surpassed America. Apple wants to open the biggest store in India today because that's where they see the next billion Indians coming on. Or their consumers coming on. They don't care whether it's Indians or Chinese as long as they buy iPhones. But that's where the future is. We have in India today almost, and the numbers will vary according to the people that you talk to, but 250 million smartphones. 25 crore Indians have smartphones today. And that number is increasing at a mind-boggling 100 million every year. And these are not 100 million replacements. This is 100 million new smartphone users every year. So before you know, people around you in your ecosystem who work for you, maybe driving your car, their kids, they're all using smartphones. And it's just a matter of their buying power, which smartphone they buy. And that's one piece of the puzzle. And I think somebody asked me this, and I always say this with a lot of passion. India today is witnessing that revolution that everybody carries a supercomputer in their pocket. This smartphone that we carry, friends, as all of you know, has more computing power than the Apollo 11 computers that went on the moon. And that's real. So, and how does that whole ecosystem help us in doing business and doing our transactions, and how the government is looking at that is very, very important. The second thing is what's happening in India, and I know Mr. Raghav Bell talked about it a little bit, is this whole thing of disruption, the digital disruption, the tech disruption that is happening in India. And that's great because, this young entrepreneurs like myself, I still consider myself young and an entrepreneurial person. Somebody asked me, what do you do? I said, I'm an entrepreneur in hibernation. Because an entrepreneur will always be an entrepreneur. And you always need to keep wearing that hat. What is happening today is that there is this bunch of young India which is trying to disrupt everything. 95% of them will fail, but 5% of them will succeed. And that 5% is what I say will eat away bits and pieces of your business or will transform the way you do business. I've had many conversations, especially in the financial industry, in the banking industry, where people say, but money is real. Yes, money is real. People still need to, the core business remains, how do you invest money? Somebody needs to make that decision. you do use algorithms and computers, fine. But there are all these disruptions happening in bits and pieces, which are really changing the way banking happens, which are changing the way the customer interacts with the bank, with the investment advisor. The customer interacts with, making payments, receiving money from the bank, receiving money from each other. And while no one disruption is causing, will trouble a SBI or a Franklin or anybody else, but if you take all these small things, if you combine them all, they're all nibbling bits and pieces of that away. And that is where the future lies. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And the third thing is from, what is very exciting is what we are building in India, right here in India. And I started with giving the example of the Apple iPhone. We are building what is called the India stack in India. The India stack is a public good. It's a public stack in India, which is based upon one of the biggest things that India did over the last 5 years, combined with the previous government and our government now in power, called the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity, the JAM Trinity. And building on that base, we are building what is called the India stack. And how does that impact your business are the three things I'm going to talk about. So I talked about the smartphones, but these are the numbers that I think all of us should be really excited about hearing. Today, as I said, India is the second biggest technology market in the world, sometimes behind America in certain things, sometimes behind China in certain things. We have 1 billion mobile connections. That's a huge number. 350 million, give or take, internet users, and 200 million users, 20 crore social media users. The 150 million that you don't see on social media, but are on internet, use something very simple called WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the most pervasive thing in India today. The biggest market for WhatsApp in the world is India. The biggest market, mind you, right? And I gave this example this morning, and I will give it again. WhatsApp has 1 billion users globally. 1 billion users in the world use WhatsApp. And you know how many WhatsApp gets exchanged every day? 50 billion WhatsApps every day. How many total SMSs all over the world? Sare, Airtel, Vodafone, T-Mobile, Verizon. You combine everything in Africa, Asia, US, India, total number of SMSs in the world. Any guesses? 24 billion, half of that. All the SMSs in the world combined are 24 billion. WhatsApp by itself is 50 billion messages a day. It's real. And that is the single most thing that has today disrupted the telecom sector. Telecom companies could not predict this disruption coming to them. Thankfully, financial institutions, banks, companies like yourself are embracing disruption. You're at least understanding how it can change your business. I really compliment all of you. You're sitting in a room trying to understand how technology can help you in your business. You're not shying away from embracing the new technologies that are coming in. And that's a very welcome thing. Because what happened to telcos can happen to all financial institutions. All these digital disruptions can eat away, make people redundant, can make big companies redundant. A company like WhatsApp employs about 60 people. That's it. 60 people in all. And they are bigger than all the telcos in the world combined. That's the power of digital disruption. The other thing that is very real in India, and I know there were a lot of questions on that, is the Aadhaar. Aadhaar has become that big, fundamental right to identity in India. It's still not a right, so I don't use it in the legal term, but it has become that identity in India which is too big to fail. Actually, as we speak, this number keeps getting changed. This is actually, right now, at 95 crore people, Indians have an Aadhaar account. an Aadhaar number, unique. This is huge. And when you combine this with two other huge things that I talked about, 1 billion Aadhaar accounts with 1 billion mobile phones, 1 billion people, and guess what? The Jan Dhan accounts. That makes this new interesting trinity called Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, JAM, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile. Now, why is this so fundamental? You know, I'm not an economist, I'm a technologist. I heard 2 sessions from Mr. Akbar and then Mr. Raghav Behel. They're talking about economics and what fundamental reforms are required. I think this is the biggest reform our government has done today. Why is that? Because all that segmented subsidies, all transformations in the way we deal with our government, all transformations, the way KYC happens, everything is changing. And it's not, it will change. It's changing as we speak. And there are disruptors who are disrupting this. Payments especially. It's all working on this. The new payment gateway that I'm going to talk about, the payment switch that the government is building, which is called the India Stack. This is a public good that the government is making. And this is what the Googles and Apples of the world hold as IPR. And that's where they're valued at $700, $800 billion. What we are doing, my friends, is making this a public good. Means this is available to anybody. This is an open architecture available to anybody. And to make it very non-technical so that you understand this, what is that we are doing with this? I hope this works. If it does not, that's okay. What we are doing is we are creating something which is important for you, identity layer. What is the identity layer? I just talked about it. Aadhaar. We are saying Aadhaar, anybody can use. You give your Aadhaar number, it will return back saying this person is claiming to be Arvind Gupta. This is the Aadhaar number. Is he Arvind Gupta or not? The answer will come back as yes, if he is Arvind Gupta or not. If not, it's no. That identity layer is available. It's an open layer available to everybody. Paperless layer. We are becoming paperless. Now, why this is important in your industry? I'm, by the way, a very satisfied customer of Franklin Templeton. These people, when they invited me, they did not know that. I mentioned this morning, I also realized that I actually use you guys for my savings in the future. For my future, actually, I guess. But what do I hate? And I was checking my iPad. I just carry my iPad with me. I send one KYC to my Citibank, one to Standard Chartered, one to you guys, one to somebody else. Why am I doing that? It's the same information. It's the same form. There is no difference. And you know what? I have actually stored it electronically. For me, that form I have scanned, stored it electronically. And all I do is whenever somebody asks me for my KYC, I just email that again and again to them. But what pains me, they want me to take a printout, sign it every time, and then again scan it and send it. It's the same thing. Right? Yes or no? So you guys end up spending more time being compliance managers than being investment advisors. So that's the truth. Because as a customer, I feel that every day. My guys are spending less time with me, telling me what I should do, than rather, sir, please fill this form. These 2 blocks are unfilled. We have to create your risk profile. That's the conversation we are doing. We are not conversing with them on, or spending value time and using your expertise in telling me what I should be doing in the future. Your job has become more compliance. All that is going to go away, and is going away. We're completely paperless. You put your KYC in the cloud, one link. If anybody needs your KYC, send it to them. And that's it. That's authentic. It's believed and trusted by the government of India. It's going to be trusted by everybody. This is becoming public. So what I want to tell you is, this stack is becoming public. What companies like yourself, what people like yourself should do is create applications around it. Anybody can do that. There is no charge. It's an open public good. Third layer we are creating is a payments layer. You've heard about this National Payments Corporation of India Limited. It's going to really be competitor to all the MasterCards and Visa networks of the world. We are building our own, the unified payment interface. Any payment from anywhere. On a click of a mouse, you can move money. Most efficiently in the world. India is all about frugal innovation. That's what we are doing. Otherwise, Google Wallets and the Apple Pays, they charge 2 to 4%. We are going to make it at 50 paisa per transaction, irrespective of the size of the transaction, something like that. Payments layer, public good. Anybody can do anything around it. And then, of course, the transactions layer, which is for the businesses, GSTN, and the consent layer. I'll talk very little about it. Consent layer is what? Consent layer says you should give information only when the customer has given consent. The customer can know who all is looking at my information. So the random people don't look at that. If somebody is accessing your information wrongly, you can block it, things like that. And transaction layers is about this whole GST, so that the B2B transactions, all the merchants and all can come into that in one common platform. But what is the common thread in all of them? The red thing, the identity layer. What this identity layer does is, any transaction that is done anywhere can be associated with one person now. And it's amazing, because you can create credit scores of people. You can profile people. You can create a complete paperless individual using technology and any of the layers, 2 layers, 3 layers. And how does that change? And I know many people ask me, is Aadhaar e-KYC really going to happen? It's not really going to. It's actually already there. And I want to tell you this, that if you are not seeing the trend in this, you should. I have these youngsters who are doing hackathons every weekend. They actually create applications on a weekend. And one of the youngsters, about a month ago, showed me an application how to do e-KYC. College student, 2 of them made an application. You put your Aadhaar on a biometric, authenticate, all your KYC information comes in. No more need. It's all there. It's actually happening. And all absolutely paperless. Once it is in the locker, in the digital locker, cloud, open to, you just send the link. You don't need to send any more paper anywhere. Certificates, birth certificates, all in the locker. And then e-signing and all, it's all built into that. Where I want to spend some time again is, what does this do to you? How does this impact your business? And it's very important, how does this impact your business? Today, this is some estimates, and you can give us some feedback. What happens is, because of this cumbersome nature of onboarding customers, the average cost of your onboarding is 1,500 rupees because of your time spent, because of paperwork, everything. And you become the compliance managers that you are not supposed to be. What does that limit that to? That you have to have a minimum investment of 3 to 5 lakh rupees of that person. You're limiting yourself to the top 3 million households. That's all. Because of the cost of doing onboarding, the cost of doing transactions, and because below that, it's not break even for you. The whole investment industry wants to, that's why you want to target people with lakhs and multiple lakhs only, because it doesn't make sense for you, business sense for you, which is fine. What does this do? Becoming paperless, we believe the onboarding cost is going to come down from 1,500 to 100 rupees. And what does that do? That brings down your break-even investment from the 3 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees, opens up 20,000 rupees, and opens up from 3 million to 34 million households. This is real numbers, real data. And how does this transform India? This becomes every Indian, basically says every Indian can save. So instead of cherry-picking your customers, you can actually go to any customer, sit in their home with a smartphone, iris scanner, authenticate that customer, do KYC, onboard them, and make them invest, make them save. And Mr. Akbar talked about it. Today we have 20 crore bank accounts in India, which are Jan Dhan accounts. We have 47 crore accounts, unique account holders in India, but 20 crores of them are first-time people. They have 31,000 rupees sitting in their 31,000 crores sitting in their bank accounts, because of two reasons. One, they don't know what savings is. They've never saved in an instrument before. They've never done savings in an instrument before. 31,000 crores sitting out there because people don't know what do they do. But what does savings mean? What does a mutual fund mean? Nobody's educated them. And nobody goes to them because it's too costly to onboard them. And secondly, the second reason is they don't know how to move their money. They actually don't know. Cost of transaction, a cost of an ATM transaction to withdraw cash from an ATM in non-urban India is 85 rupees. So if you withdraw 500 rupees from an ATM in India, it's 85 rupees cost to the bank. In Bombay and Delhi, it's 17 rupees on an average. You know this? So if you withdraw 500 rupees from a bank or 1,000 rupees from a bank, the cost to the bank is 17 rupees in Delhi and 85 rupees in a rural village or outside the urban cities. It's not efficient. And to remove that efficiency, I'm going to talk about that next layer, we have to remove all the inefficiency in the system. And that's what this system is trying to do. Similarly for you, the paperless and the KYC norms are trying to make the system efficient for you and reach out to a consumer that you could never reach out to before. You can talk to any consumer of India because of eKYC. You can actually onboard them and actually open up a huge new market which never existed and never knew this whole new class of savings called funds, mutual funds, and markets. You know, the 2% become actually 35%, 40%, slowly as you go on. We believe, so this is the onboarding part and how this whole Jandhan, Aadhaar, mobile with the India stack is transforming. And there are lots of people working in this, helping you do this. The phone has iris scanner on it. I wish I carried it today. I can show you how you can just show. So illiterate people who are not educated can just look at the phone. They authenticated on iris. Aadhaar authentication done. Job done. As simple as that. This is all available today as we speak. The second area I want to talk about, which is not an onboarding, is a totally different domain. The second thing that is happening is, and that's as advisors again, is this whole WhatsAppization of everything. Everything is on WhatsApp today, right? How many of you don't use WhatsApp? Anybody in this room who does not use WhatsApp? See, the answer is zero. I feel very proud. Today, India has 240, 250 million WhatsApp users. And the number keeps going up. They don't disclose that. I was the second or the third WhatsApp user in India. So it's come a long way. And it's just aside, one of the hidden tools in our campaign was WhatsApp. Many people don't know this. It's actually very strategic. Very, very strategic. You can use it very interestingly. We've really mastered how to use WhatsApp very well. Now, what is this theory with WhatsApp? Today, all of us use WhatsApp. We create groups. We share this information. The next thing that is happening with WhatsApp is something that you can be very interested about. WhatsApp is getting integrated with customer service. So far, WhatsApp was a communication tool, sharing tool. You take photographs, you put it there, you publish some information for your clients. They see it, they like it, yes or no. But it was always, in a group it was okay. But if you had to, understand if you 10,000, 20,000 WhatsApp every day, you couldn't do that. What WhatsApp is bringing about is WhatsApp for business, where it is integrated at the back end with your CRM, with your customer servicing, whatever. So you can now have responses, you can action items based on how people are responding to you on WhatsApp. I believe that's the big movement happening. From just using WhatsApp for communication and information sharing, you can now use WhatsApp as a tool to conduct business, as a tool to give customer service, as a tool to do trades, as a tool to do anything. It can actually be a platform rather than just a communication technology or a chatting tool. So it's going away from being just chatting to being a proper platform which can then, like email or like the internet, will become is already so pervasive. So that's exactly what they've done. They've put it on everybody's phone. And what they've done this year, they made it free. You know this or not? WhatsApp has made the thing free lifelong now. And many people asked me, they are free, they don't make any money. The best revenue they did was about 50, 60 crore rupees, and they are worth a whopping. Do you know how much WhatsApp got sold for? How many? About that much, $22 billion. $22 billion, 60 people, don't charge any fees. That's their game. The amount of data that they are generating on their platform is unimaginable. And that's WhatsApp make money, by the way. WhatsApp is not doing this for charity. And Facebook definitely not is for charity. Facebook owns WhatsApp now, so they don't do charity. The point being, WhatsApp is becoming a serious platform for us to conduct business. So far, it was a very personal tool to chat, to communicate, to share, family, friends, this and that. But now, with its new integration, WhatsApp for business, WhatsApp for CRM, everything, it's becoming very pervasive, and it's on everybody's phone. And why that is important? And I don't want to talk about just WhatsApp as a WhatsApp. I'm saying all these technologies, the things that are on your phone, these messengers or chatting things, they are so pervasive that everybody uses them. They're available to everybody. Every single person who has that smartphone in India, the 350 million people, 250 million people who are on smartphone and the 350 million who are on the internet, they all have WhatsApp. And because of that, it is the easiest thing to use today. It's easier to go on WhatsApp and do something than put it on Facebook or put it on a website. Easiest, WhatsApp. And because of that, just to give a message or send something, the pervasiveness, the easiness of it, the languages in it, the support that the languages have in it, it's making it the tool of choice for all of you. And you have to think about how you can leverage it to do your businesses a lot more better. Give advice. And also a small warning here. More rumors get floated on WhatsApp than anything else. So please be very sure of what information you are consuming on WhatsApp before believing it. Because I get rumors every day. Earlier I used to get it on email, now I get it on WhatsApp. Somebody has died, somebody has happened, somebody has bought this company, somebody has done that. So standard rumor market has now shifted on WhatsApp. And the interesting part, it's free. So people love to do it even more now. So please be very careful. Information needs to be trusted and reliable. And people will trust you with that for your information. The information you start sharing with your clients and your business associates, when you make sure that you use the information in a very trustworthy, reliable manner. You use that technology in that manner. If you start sharing, jokes and business communication in the same platform, the reliability of your information goes away. And that's one big critical mistake people make in communication. They mix communication platforms. So a very heavy topic as the India stack, which is transforming, becoming paperless, eKYC attached with Aadhaar, but a very simple thing as WhatsApp as a front end, making your customer service, customer interaction very, very easy. These two things, I believe, are really transforming something very applicable to you. There are a lot of things happening in the payment space. I talked about this whole India stack. And in this, the exciting thing in this is the payments layer that we are building in. Today, if this whole process of a customer onboarding, you go to a customer, you convince them, you talk to them saying you need to invest in this mutual fund or whatever it may be, and they say yes. Sitting right there, you onboard the customer, do the KYC, take their Aadhaar, their fingerprint, they are onboarded. You don't need to do any further paperwork. The second thing is they need to then give you a check, right, to make the investment in the fund. Something like that. That is all that also you carry a payments application online, just an app, and say press this button, account gets transferred. The money gets transferred right there and then. They can again authenticate that, transfer the money. With the new payments layer, any mobile phone is a complete bank branch. Any mobile phone, it's not supposed to be ringing, it's ringing. Any mobile phone is a complete bank branch. That's what I want to tell you. And that's a big revolution. India is creating this revolution in the world. Nobody is able to, I mean, people in the world are appreciating the fintech revolution that India is bringing about, because we are making it a public good. We are making it at a cost that nobody has ever done before. We are doing it at a scale of 1 billion people that nobody has done before. And the whole smartphone, in fact, is a complete bank with full authentication, full, today when you carry a credit card or any debit card, what do you carry? You carry a card which says what you have. Then you have a PIN number which tells you what you know. And there is a name or identity associated with it, tells you who you are. The three things that identify a person, right? What you have, who you are, what you know. These are three unique things that identify a person. All three things replaced by a phone. Aadhaar replaces your authentication, who you are. The phone is what you have. And what you know is a PIN on the app, on the phone. All these things can replace a complete bank, checkbook, debit card, and it is not can, it is replacing. You have multiple systems that have completely replaced. The phone is your biggest ally today. And I want to stop here, leave it for some questions, I guess. But your phone is your virtual bank 24/7 in the pocket of every individual. That is going to be your eKYC tool, that's going to be your payments tool, your instrument, whatever you want to do, and your customer service. Your phone is your customer service. So because you will have your WhatsApp and WhatsApp for business right here. And this is what I believe is the future. And it's not out there 12 months from now or 24 months from now. It's happening as we speak. It's more real time than you can believe. And it's at a scale that every individual is covered. Every Indian is covered. I know there were always comments on Aadhaar's legal issues, this and that, but let me tell you, that apart, this is the biggest and the most ambitious project India has taken care of. It is a transformational thing because not only how citizens interact with each other, but also how the government uses its money in a very, very intelligent and targeted manner. So it really changes a lot of dynamics. Aadhaar, we believe, has a potential of having 3 to 4% impact on the savings of the whole GDP. So that's the amount of impact Aadhaar can have. It's a huge thing, and not just Aadhaar, the Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile trilogy. Last thing I'll leave it at. The Jan Dhan accounts today, and Mr. Akbar talked about it in the morning, have 31,000 crores. This is the money that is sitting in the banks. But what we have not mentioned is that more than 1 lakh crores has actually moved into these accounts and moved out of these accounts. So people are using these accounts. The big thing that Jan Dhan accounts have done, which we have to all realize, is tell people there is something called banking. And they have a right to bank, they have a right to save. If you go outside the big cities and ask people who have done these Jan Dhan accounts, they will tell you that lives have changed. They don't need to store their money in their mattresses or, worry about the money being stolen from their hands. They actually have a sense of security. So you're looking at 20 crore new people who will have balances going forward, who will understand the banking world, who will start trusting, who have started trusting the banking world. And I think that whole new generation of financially included people have a great potential. That is really the potential of banking in India. And at scale, we have delivered to the world. And I think this whole revolution is just starting, and I think you all should be part of that. So I'll leave it at that. Shelly, is there a question answer or something you want to do?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Come. What is going to be the most disruptive piece in, let's say, the next 18 months? Because the speed of change in technology There are all these things to grapple with. But if you were to pick one or two of them, what would they be?
Especially in fintech, I was to pick one or two in fintech, I actually talked about it. One or two things in fintech is definitely number one, things that are happening on eKYC, payments, all based on this Jan Dhan Aadhaar mobile. And the other thing is this pervasiveness of smartphones and WhatsApp. It's really changing the way things are happening.
Yeah.
There is, on a lighter side, people are talking about how cities are being run on WhatsApp. People are talking about how quickly you respond to that. So instead of what was a Facebook page or a URL, today the flavor of the season is WhatsApp. So I think these two technologies combined with the Jan Dhan Aadhaar trilogy, I think Trinity is really disruptive.
One of the things that comes with disruption is this challenge of security, right? Particularly with the platforms that you're talking about, social media in general. One of the big concerns for the financial sector has been that it all sounds pretty good that all this is disruptive and we should just embrace it. But what about data security? How does one address that issue when these have to go big scale?
Let me answer that question in two different ways. Again, I'll take a few comments from a few pointers from the audience here. How many of you use Google? How many of you don't use Google? There is one person who doesn't use Google here. Why I asked that question, Shelly, is because we actually give more information of our personal information away to the Googles, the Facebooks, and the Apples of the world.
Voluntarily.
Voluntarily or without choice.
Yeah.
But we don't trust our own systems, our own governments, because we don't have a choice. We have given our life away. Google knows I'm sitting in this room right now.
Yeah.
I can bet, yes or no?
And then half of them have already checked into their pages before they came.
No, if you do a search right now on Google, on your smartphone or your Apple phone, they know everything about you. What the point I'm trying to make is, this is India's attempt to decolonize ourselves digitally. We are actually, and I say this with a lot of meaning, we are actually helping ourselves stay away from digital colonization. Now, when we talk of privacy, we have to understand that these are very secure systems. We have to make them more secure. But, there are privacy to that extent. The government is best suited in our country. I would rather trust my own government with my data than anybody else, as simple as that. Now, second question is about security. I think very stringent data security norms should be made. I think we all should be. And that's something I want to share with this community. The biggest problem and as a consumer I'm sharing this feedback, is people don't value people's private data. So if people change banks, they will carry their the customer list, the client list with them.
Yeah.
So yesterday you were with bank X, tomorrow you with bank Y, and now bank Y starts getting, you start saying, I've just shifted banks and I'm making calls on behalf of Bank Y, but the data belong to Bank X. So I think a culture of data privacy, data security has to be built in. That is for true. But most of these applications and have to be very secure, if that's your question. And I think we need to really emphasize on security. Frauds are happening. With digitization, there is cyber fraud, cyber crimes will increase. So that has to be built in. There is no denying that fact. Okay.
Some questions are coming in. As you all know, most of you have been tweeting as well as asking questions through the FT Perspectives app. One of them is really how India has been probably behind the curve with respect to big bang innovations. After all, even products like the Apple iPhone and so on, everything was developed in the West. Do you think that that's a story India needs to stop chasing, stop having that long wait to create India's equivalent of the iPhone product? You're a man who believes products have to support services as well as a part of digitization.
So the question is, can India do the innovation or should we do the innovation?
Both.
The answer to that is yes, without fail. The iPhone gets made in China, but the IP resides in America, in Cupertino. This is two jokes I will tell you about Apple, and I've worked very closely with that company, so I can share that with you. There's a store in New York the Central Park store of New York, iPhone store, it sells more iPhones than the chain, that revenue of that one store is more than the chain of Bloomingdale's globally. One store sells more revenue than Bloomingdale's all over the world. iPhone, Apple makes more profit in a year than the whole market cap of Reliance. I don't know whether you realize this. Last year it was $55 billion of profitability, PAT. So innovation is necessary for a country because we need to create value.
But we haven't done that so far, right? What's holding us back? What's holding us back?
If you ask me, I can share from my very personal experience and a lot of people like us, what is holding us back was we never incentivize innovation in India. We never had that word called innovation in India. We never said, make in India, do things in India, we will value you. As a startup person, if you ask any startup person, the charm of a startup never existed in India. You always wanted to go work for a big name, and every big name is what you wanted, because that's what would get you married. That's what do all the things. No, that was a genuine thing. The first thing you would ask why you are quitting a startup is, because I'm not able to get married. People don't understand what a startup is. Today, that has completely changed. You get married because you work in a startup, because people think you have the biggest potential, right? You can make all those billions and millions of dollars. So things have completely changed, and we have to go on this. Maybe there will be 20,000 companies we will float, and one of them will succeed, but we need that one superstar. And already, I say this, there are at least 15 superstars in making. We have these 15 unicorns in India. The unicorns already have $1 billion. Some of them have $15 billion of valuation. I think we are going to produce the biggest valued companies from India.
So let me ask you a question that I'm sure comes to the mind of all the IFAs at some point or the other. If digital really does take over their life more than it has right now, and the entire payment system gets integrated, I mean, we're talking of pure digital banks, you don't even need a branch. What will be the incentive for some of these financial houses to go from being traditional to digital? Because clearly, when you cut intermediaries, you cut various processes, money-making capabilities change. What do you think is the trend there?
So I did address that, and I'll say that again. You cut inefficiencies in a process. You cut inefficiencies. Please mind me in saying that. You cut inefficiency. You cannot cut people's intellectual value and their actual business value. Business value does not go away anywhere. Your advice, my advice will still stay advice. This talk itself, I can't digitize it and just give it to you. The talk has to happen physically. Same thing, you have to talk to your clients physically. You have to convince them physically. But the inefficiencies of the system will go away from a digital process. So that is welcome. I think the amount of people who clapped on that was I could see that they're sick and tired of filling forms and getting their clients to fill forms, right?
Yeah. No, indeed. And the final question is really to say that even as India goes on talking about digital India and so on, really, where will we see that integration? You talked a lot about Aadhaar, for example, right? Do we actually see a collapse, a political will to collapse some of these multiple plugs that we all have to connect with? Again, as you said, there was an applause when you talked about form filling. Is there a political will to allow a complete collapse of these unnecessary parallel structures and go with it with a single point of contact? It could be Aadhaar or whatever it is. I mean, at this point, it appears to be Aadhaar, but we don't know what's the political conviction to take it ahead.
See, certain things happen because there is no choice. Somebody asked me, what is this leapfrogging? Certain things happen in India because there are no choice. Today, we are left with no choice. We are our wall towards our back, completely our back towards the wall. We have no choice remaining but to adopt all these things and make things more efficient. If you ask all the software companies in India, they blossomed because of something called the Y2K movement, the year 2000 bug in the computers.
Yeah.
The bug never happened, by the way. But everybody did very well. You ask all these companies, how many clients did they have in India? They will tell you they had very few clients in India because India didn't have computers which could have Y2K bug in them. Mm-hmm. Right? So we were safe because we didn't have anything.
And we saw an opportunity to turn it into business.
And that opportunity today, similar opportunity, we leapfrogged. We've just leapfrogged so many generations of inefficiencies in technology to come up with the latest. So in India today, everybody, I said this, carries a smartphone. I mean, 300 million people carry a smartphone in India, bigger than the US. So, I mean, because we were pushed to the wall, we have now a great opportunity in front of us. We actually can make the best out of it. And there is, we have no choice. We have to make the best out of it. We are at the right point also in time. And, people are embracing technology. Banks are talking about technology. I said this when, we started the session. Telecom companies said that, people will not like to send photographs and videos over the phone. Who would like to send photographs and videos over the phone? How wrongly they are today. Everybody is doing that.
Yeah.
Right? How many of you use cameras any longer? Everybody is using the smartphone, taking a photograph. Right? The Nokias and the people who make...
Comes from the tops, the selfie culture.
So, yeah, starts from the top, yes.
Yes. Okay. On that note, thanks very much, Arvind. An absolute pleasure. And thank you for your in-depth perspectives on digital.